when she was Secretary of State, plus millions more for her foundation, the Sultan of Brunei has pushed oppressive Sharia law, including the punishment by death and stoning if you happen to be gay. The government of Brunei also stands to be one of the biggest beneficiary of Hillary's Trans-Pacific Partnership, which she would absolutely approve if given the chance. Hillary Clinton's book, and just think of this, the book talks about it, but Hillary took $25 million from Saudi Arabia and much more from others, where being gay is also punishable by death. Hillary took millions from Kuwait, Qatar, Oman, and many other countries that horribly abuse women and the LGBT citizens. To cover up her corrupt dealings, Hillary illegally stashed her State Department emails on a private server. She's under investigation, but it seems like nothing's going to happen, even though other people who have done similar things, but at a much lower level, their lives have been destroyed. It's a rigged system, folks. It's a rigged system. Her server was easily hacked by foreign governments, perhaps even by her financial backers in communist China. Sure they have it. Putting all of America and our citizens in danger, great danger. Then there are the 33,000 emails she deleted. While we may not know what's in those deleted emails, our enemies probably know every single one of them. So they probably now have a blackmail file over someone who wants to be the president of the United States. This fact alone disqualifies her from the presidency. We can't hand over our government to someone whose deepest, darkest secrets may be in the hands of our enemies. You can't do it.
Not only does it disqualify her, but we need to understand that this government, this administration, the Obama administration, has used the Espionage Act of 1917 more than against journalists and against whistleblowers, more than all of the presidents combined in the previous 100 years. Think about that. Think about that. Think about how vigorous they have been to shut down all transparency in our government from whistleblowers, from journalists, calling them spies because they worship national security. And then look at the free pass that Hillary Clinton gets. Can she preside in this ridiculous hypocrisy over this aggressive and over-the-top national security state? Of course she can't. Of course she can't. And I would hope that Donald Trump would scale it back, but I don't see any signs that he will. There are other reasons to vote for Donald Trump. I don't think he's going to pull back the national security state. But when you look at what the Obama administration that she was a part of did to people like Thomas Drake and the whistleblowers, William Binney from the NSA, who tried to warn us about the dragnet surveillance that now everybody understands and believes because of the Snowden leaks. When you look at how they came after Thomas Drake, and I've interviewed him, they came after him and went over him with a fine-tooth comb to try to find something that they could come against him with very serious charges. And what they found were some training manuals, security is our friend, and that type of thing, and tried to send him to jail for that. And here we've got Hillary Clinton with some of the most beyond top secret documents you can have, private discussions with foreign heads of state, completely in violation of the security agreements, what she understands as a Secretary of State. She signed documents saying that she would abide by the laws and regulations of the national security state, and they prosecute people for whistleblowing, and yet she walks free and clear. And then, as Donald Trump pointed out, a friend to the most oppressive regimes in the world, oppressive to the people that she appeals to vote for her because of her identity. She says, vote for me, LGBT people, because I'm one of you. Vote for me because I'm a woman. And yet, look at Saudi Arabia. I read earlier that story from the Wall Street Journal talking about these Saudi Arabian women who long for the one night a week in the capital, Jeddah, where they can go to an amusement park and set in bumper cars, not so that they can play bumper cars, but so they can actually feel what it's like to drive a car. Now, they go on to say, in a country where 23% of Saudi women, only 23%, have jobs, ladies-only nights bring women out in force. Every employee there is, in fact, a woman because, they have this rigid segregation of sexes. And it's only because they only have all the employees as women that they're allowed to take off the burqas and the beekeeper suits. Okay, everyone from popcorn sellers to the security guards to the bumper car attendant, the men have the night off. And while cinemas are normally banned in Saudi Arabia, there are 2 of them in this amusement park. Granted, the movies last under 5 minutes, and the experience is really just about the special effects. It's got 3D screens, seats that jolt you around and spray water on you, okay? But for them, the biggest attraction is the fact that they can ride in these cars and that they don't have to be hassled by the men. The men who have been trained by this culture, by this religion, to oppress and harass women. The men who send the money to Hillary Clinton. And then they go on to say, the way they end the story is they say, many of the female bumper car drivers confide that they would really like to sit in the driver's seat outside of the park's walls. Some of them say that they have. And then this woman who they talk to, and I hope the Saudi religious police don't read the Wall Street Journal, because if they do, she and her husband are big trouble. She says with pride, I've driven in the desert. Yeah. If you're in Saudi Arabia, you can drive in the desert, maybe. Okay, those are the people that we have been so closely allied to. And it's not just the Clintons, okay? It's the establishment, Republican and Democrat. Remember, it was Henry Kissinger. All these people who are pushing these globalist trade deals on us, they are the ones who took us off the gold standard. Richard Nixon and Henry Kissinger, they created the alliance with the Saudis where they would back, all oil would be sold in the dollar. They would create the petrodollar. They would buy our treasury bills. And then when we have a classified document, the government's own conspiracy theory, the official 9/11 report that has 28 pages where they talked about the Saudis, and somebody said, wait a minute, you can't say that about our guys because, they're locked hip and thigh with the CIA. They redacted that. And if that were to come out, people would sue them. And they actually started running bills through the Senate to allow the Saudis to be sued. And the Saudis said, you do that, we're going to dump $750 billion of your treasury bills, blackmailing us. Those are our closest allies. Those are the close supporters of Hillary Clinton, the people who brag that they gave her 20% of her financing. Those people who are so closely tied to the CIA. And of course, as Paul Craig Roberts pointed out, when we talk about the Brexit vote that is coming up tomorrow, as he pointed out, the European Union is a creation of the CIA. They wanted a single point of control. So they're intimately involved in the creation of the European Union. Obama and the establishment, both Republican and Democrat, do not want to see Britain leave the EU. They want Britain to be controlled. They want Britain to be subsumed. They do not want them to leave the European Union reservation. That vote is tomorrow. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to be talking to Lord Monckton, and he's going to explain to us what is at stake, because this is something that affects us all. We're in a war right now about global consolidation that will wipe out the nation states of the West. Brexit is a part of it. Donald Trump is a part of it. You can be a part of it. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, your host on this Wednesday, June 22nd, 2016, the day before Brexit. As I point out, we're going to be talking to Lord Monckton about that in the next hour. I've got a speech coming up. I want you to hear from Boris Johnson, the former mayor of London. And he lays out what is truly at stake here. We hear all this talk about all the different economic measures. Are they going to be better off economically? And certainly you can take a look and you can understand and you can get a dollar figure as to how much they are sending to the European Union as a net loss. And then they reply and say, yeah, but we're a part of this great big trading bloc, and we really don't know what's going to happen if the trade deals change. So they have specific metrics that show this massive bleeding of cash coming out, and then the other side that says remain in it because we don't really know what will happen if we get out of it. That's what we're seeing played back and forth. But it is truly about sovereignty. And I want to play you this clip from Boris Johnson where he talks about this and he lays this out. They had a debate last night, and they had people from both sides talking. This is his summary speech. It's a great speech.
At the end of this campaign, I think you'll agree there is a very clear choice between those on their side who speak of nothing but fear of the consequences of leaving the EU, and we on our side who offer hope. Between those who have been endlessly rubbishing our country and running it down, and those of us who believe in Britain. They say we can't do it. We say we can. They say we have no choice but to bow down to Brussels. We say they are woefully underestimating this country and what it can do. If we vote leave, we can take back control of our borders, of huge sums of money, £10 billion a year net, of our tax-raising powers, of our trade policy, and of our whole law-making system, the democracy that is the foundation of our prosperity. And if we stand up for democracy, we will be speaking up for hundreds of millions of people around Europe who agree with us, but who currently have no voice. And if we vote leave and take back control, I believe that this Thursday can be our country's Independence Day.
That's right. It's tomorrow going to be the Independence Day. Are they going to purge Britain of the parasites and the toxins? How's that for a transition to a deep cleanse special? We're seriously, InfoWarsLife.com. We all know that a clean, toxin-free body is the foundation of true health. That's why we've developed Deep Cleanse. It's an all-in-one total body cleanser that doesn't cut any corners. This natural formula incorporates the chemical and toxic metal cleansing ability of organic zeolites in combination with powerful cleansing herbs. You can read over 100 five-star reviews at InfoWarsLife.com. Find out what this product is about, how it can help you get rid of the parasites, the toxins in your body, just as they're trying to get rid of them in Britain, hopefully tomorrow. You can get it for 20% off right now, InfoWarsLife.com. New special, 20% off Deep Cleanse at InfoWarsLife.com. Now, as we're talking about the parasites, here's an article from InfoWars.com. Paul Joseph Watson. The EU even tries to control the volume at which we listen to music in Britain. He says the joyless Brussels bureaucracy regulates every aspect of our lives. EU regulations are becoming so invasive that the unelected bureaucracy even tries to control the volume at which European citizens can listen to music on their iPhone. Now, as we look at that, there was a story that was up on the Drudge Report yesterday from the Daily Mail. Don't call them robots. Europe's mechanical workers could become electronic persons. Who's going to do something that crazy? Why? Of course, it would be the European Union. And they're even proposing that there's going to have to be a Social Security pension plan for the robots who take their jobs. How's that? That's the next level. After they bring in the migrants, they bring in the robots. Want to talk about a precariat? You want to talk about the precarious people with pitchforks and torches? Let's hope they turn out to vote tomorrow. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight. In our next segment, we're going to be joined by Lord Monckton from the EU, from the UK. Actually, he's in the EU right now. They want to get out of the EU, and they want to become their own sovereign nation again. He's going to talk about Brexit, which is the vote coming up tomorrow as to whether or not Britain will leave or whether they will remain in the European Union. This is an issue that is of global importance. What we are facing right now across the globe is a contest between global governance and individual liberty. As we remove government farther from us, we lose our freedoms more and more. As power is consolidated, that's what our founders were concerned about. That's why they created in the Constitution, they divided power between the states and between the central government. They were very concerned that the central government was going to become the overriding monster that we have today. They knew that was going to happen eventually. They tried to put some checks and balances in there, but unfortunately, the Constitution is not a self-enforcing document. And so they created a division of power between the states, between the people. The Senate was supposed to represent the states. The people were represented by the House of Representatives. And they were supposed to give some level of check to the central government. Then the central government, they tried to divide into three branches as well to keep power from being consolidated. And yet we've seen what has happened with that. Now we've moved beyond that. Now we have these central nation states, and these wars happened in the 1860s. It